How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you a video that I did not think I was going to do. Just based off, I'm kind of out of the loop a little bit. I don't really play this game as much, so like a lot of people were telling me that this crazy event was coming out, and some people said it was going to be ridiculously hard. So in my head, that just means I'm not going to be able to do it. So today I was just kind of looking at some of the paths to see which ones I can do, and I happened to come across specifically the tech science path. Um, Unfortunately, it was Path 2, and we'll be doing Path 1 in another video, so for those of you looking for Path 1, I apologize. But the first path that I did was Path 2. As you can see, we are running two 7-stars, Deathless She-Hulk, Titania, and then, unfortunately, a 6-star Howard the Duck. Now, I don't have Howard the Duck 7-star, but that's okay, because my Path 1 team is going to have 3 7-stars, so it didn't end up affecting me in any way. Now, I don't go over the nodes here, because I was just kind of, at first it kind of started as like a little bit of a trial run, but the nodes are, every single character has their own separate nodes because they're from Eternity of Pain, and then each road has one node that they all have. Now this road specifically has, the defenders take no damage from any sources, but if you put a non-stun debuff on them, they get dealt 2% of their max health for every debuff they get taken away. Now, so for those of you that are just like me, who are just like, anyone that does a crazy amount of debuffs should be fine, but it goes on cooldown. So anything that gives like multiple debuffs, it's only going to take the damage away from one, unless it's within whatever the seconds are. I think it's like 2-second cooldown. It's like nothing crazy. So I originally went in with Howard the Duck because this node, specifically the Nebula, has two modes. She, as you guys are going to see, she either starts unblockable, or when you hit her block, she does shock you. Now, that doesn't sound that bad, but she has a 90% chance to auto-block you, unless you have a certain amount of buffs to negate that, because every buff that you have like reduces that by a certain amount. So as you guys can see here, we're just parry-heavying with Howard the Duck, and we're doing no damage, but every time we inflict the heavy attack, it is going to use that node where the first armor break that we do ends up giving her 2% damage back. Unfortunately, Howard the Duck only does debuffs on his SP1, his SP2, and his heavy, which obviously is a lot more than other people. But for situations like this, like when she's unblockable, you basically just have to hit into her block and try to bait out the SP1 and then punish it with a heavy. And then you can parry her when she's in overdrive. So it's really not that bad. I do have to say, though, this fight did take me a little bit to, like, get the hang of. I did die to it a few times just because mine was like a 6-star. But the beauty about this path is it doesn't matter what rank your characters are, you always take 2% of their max health. So in essence, I could be running a rank 1 6-star and I'm still going to be doing the same exact amount of damage that a 7-star rank 4 would do in this situation. So that's why I picked this path, because it just seems like you can kind of use anyone. Now, as I said, you need someone that does debuffs because of the Link node, but you also need someone that has a lot of buffs to negate Nebula's auto block from this node. Other than that, you're pretty much in the clear. As you can see, it's just a lot of parry heavying. You got to take your time with it. Watch the unblockable, watch the overdrive. It is a lot to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. But once you get the hang of it, it's smooth sailing from here. That's pretty much all I have to really say about it, so I'm going to get rid of my webcam, and you guys are going to see the rest of this, and then I will come back when the next fight starts. As you guys can see here, it is a pretty simple fight. The only reason why I'm kind of backed out and I didn't talk too much is because this fight is the longest fight out of all of them. That is the only reason why this fight gets a little tedious and a little frustrating at times. I forgot to mention, obviously, that there is a rooted counter. As long as you're close to her, it stops and it doesn't affect you in any way. That's why you kind of see me get a little bit close on SP1s and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, you shouldn't have a problem with that. And also, when you parry her, she does have a chance or something like that to nullify an armor. But because you're using Howard the Duck and he has all of these buffs, does not even matter. Doesn't affect you in any way. It is perfect. Now, for the rest of the video, I will be here, I promise. For this fight specifically, the Northstar, there is only really one thing to worry about when you're using Deathless She-Hulk, and that is to constantly have uptime on the Fear debuff. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Fear debuff for Deathless She-Hulk is inflicted on her heavy, and it bypasses miss. So for what makes this fight really difficult, with Northstar spamming his specials, and you know, just constantly throwing them like it's no one's business, and you're not able to punish him, she is able to bypass that, especially with punishing it with a heavy itself. Now, I am going to get clipped here. Like later on, you guys are going to see, and it's just because I'm just bad. There's really no other way around it. So as you can see here, every time we inflict a trauma, which we're actually getting pretty good RNG on those traumas, and every time we inflict a fear, as long as it's not on cooldown, we are doing insane damage. As you can see, already 10% of his health taken away. That is 5 debuffs with cooldown that we're just laying into him with this. As you can see here, total control of the fight. We are not able to throw any specials until we dash in. And as you can see, I do get clipped by his weird hitbox on his special. And as you can see here, immediately punish it and throw my own SP2 here. We are not able to punish this because we don't have fear, but we just kind of back off a little bit. We have to make sure you pay attention to Bubble Shield because he does have a lot of hits. So if you're not parrying the single hit and you happen to block like a light string or something like that, you really get hurt. The key is to try to figure out the spacing on that SP1. I've found a lot of luck with staying in his face and dexing that last hit. As long as you're able to actually dex that last hit, it does make you close enough. There was a couple times where I kind of got messed up a little bit with the timing. And of course, being able to dex his SP2 is a huge plus. I kind of had to learn that a few days ago when he was in the other Eternity of Pain. And as you can see, it totally paid off. It does not matter if he throws SP1s, SP2s, you're able to punish it as long as you have that fear up. There is no like looping your power gain or anything. And as you can see here, perfect. The game is in full control with Deathless She-Hulk. I highly recommend her. I really hope that you who are watching this, that you have her. I'll make sure to put her like in the thumbnail so that, you know, I don't want to like have like a clickbait situation or anything like that. If you don't have her, there is definitely more people. I heard that Photon's really good for this path. So I'm sure if you don't have Deathless She-Hulk, you could probably sub her in for Photon. It probably isn't as smooth as this because the Northstar fight is an absolute joke, and the Destroyer fight is even crazier with this. As you can see here, we're kind of getting the spacing down a little bit. There is going to be a couple times where we kind of whiff it, or maybe I've just whiffed it and then died and then it reset. I've literally fought these guys so many times that they all kind of mesh together. We do have 8 on that bubble shield, so we do have to make sure we don't like block an entire string or anything like that. It always is annoying that we're not able to just throw our specials. We have to like dash in or punish a heavy or something like that. But as you can see here, now we have the full traumas up, so the taunt is going crazy. As long as I parry 1 hit, I know I can parry 2 more hits before he goes unblockable. Just something to keep track of. And of course, dexing his SP2 is a huge bonus. If you don't know how to dex his SP2, luckily Deathless She-Hulk kind of makes it so you don't have to, because you have your constant uptime on those taunts or the traumas. And as long as you keep refreshing the fear, you won't really have to worry about much of anything, to be honest with you. So I would recommend learning the SP2 dex, but you don't have to. It's really not that big of a deal here, especially with the relic. It's just literally just rinse and repeat, especially since the first hit of the heavy inflicts the fear. So you actually are able to hit him with the first heavy, throw a relic, and then, you know, do a 5-hit combo, or hit him with another heavy. That's 4% of his health taken away, which doesn't sound like a lot, you know, in the grand scheme of things, a regular game. But in this node, where you can only take 2%, it is pretty big. And as you can see there, I whiffed the timing, and he still let me hit him. So I'm very thankful for that. I really appreciate that. And how we say thank you is we hit him with our SP2 correctly. And as you can see here, we do have 23 traumas. It's literally perfect control. I am loving this. And now, the instant roadblock is literally the Photon. You don't know how many times I've literally done this road, got to the Photon, got absolutely spanked, and then had to, you know, restart. Because I try to get as many solos as possible for you guys, because I don't like to have like a guide where you have all these deaths. Like, I just think that looks unprofessional, I guess. But unfortunately, spoiler alert, we do die a lot. Well, you don't see as many of them, but we do die a decent amount. Not on this destroyer. This destroyer is a solo. And as you can see here, we get pretty good RNG in the beginning with all of those ruptures. As you can see, every time we get a trauma or a non-damaging debuff, he does go down on his whatever that the destruction charges that he has. And we get pretty lucky with non-damaging, so we actually get them down. There was run rotation that I had where I didn't get like any debuffs. Fortunately, we didn't have that problem. Now, another thing that makes this fight kind of easier with Deathless She-Hulk is that she is able to hit him with the heavy attack to get the fear, which stops his unblockable. It stops the unblockable when it gets on him, and while he already has it, it actually disables it as well. It completely gets rid of it. So, another character that she absolutely decimates only with the heavy. Like, she doesn't need anything else. You can loop heavies here. I think at most you're going to be able to kind of loop 3 of them. Now, the biggest problem I had with this fight, which wasn't a problem because you can obviously, as you can tell, full control of the fight. It's really not that big of a deal. There is a few times he throws the SP1, and depending on your spacing, if you're not like immediately in front of him like there, you actually end up screwing yourself where you don't dex the first hit. We'll kind of go back here. And you guys are going to see, I'm literally in his face when it comes up. And I'm not able to dex it, I guess because maybe of her hitbox or how the SP1 is. You guys are going to see here that doesn't count as a dex. It's very weird. Now, and then of course I screw myself up here. But the main thing is, if for some reason that dex doesn't come out, and obviously that's annoying because inevitably he is going to get his power gain. But the good news is, you have all these traumas, so he's able to kind of throw his stuff freely, and you have the withers from the SP2. Hopefully you have it at that point. And I found that with the 2 withers, you actually completely mitigate the power gain that he gets at 100 destruction charges. So it's actually really not that bad. As long as you are kind of prepared for something like that, it won't take you by surprise, and you'll be absolutely fine. See, in there, it counts as a dex. There might be like a milli-inch of space that we're talking about here that I'm able to dex at or not dex it. It's really weird. The timing on the heavy is interesting. And as you can see here, 3 looped heavies, 6% of his health immediately taken away here. We are dexing every hit to make sure he doesn't stack up his destruction charges. Even if he did, we have 26 traumas. I think each one is like 8% of a taunt or something like that. So we have 27, which is pretty much, he's guaranteed to throw that special like it's nothing. So we're pretty much just looping heavies here. As you can see, full control, a lot more interesting to see than like the Northstar fight. But as you can see, she is definitely the MVP for this path. But don't worry, Titania has her time to shine later on, where we just basically get like we get kicked, our balls kicked in this path. It was a joke how bad it was. I literally had 85 minutes of footage, and as you guys obviously are seeing, this video is like 35 minutes long. So I got absolutely steamrolled by the Ares in particular, but we'll go into that later. I have a full guide for it, so you guys won't have the same problems I had, and I just hope you can beat him and solo him. And if you, I don't know, just send me a picture or something of you beating him so that I feel better, because I got absolutely waxed by this character. Now, just gonna dex this last hit, and just like that, when we put our specters from the SP1, he dies. Another solo for the books. Those are the only 3 solos. Now we are going to immediately jump into this Photon fight because I got murked in the beginning. Now we're going to pause and just kind of talk about these nodes a little bit for those of you that haven't fought her and you kind of need like a what is it called? Whatever, a reminder. She's annoying. She's very annoying. Titania is pretty good for her. Obviously with the node with the non-damaging debuff, she's really good. But also, with how the node works, you are constantly gaining power, and you need to throw a special, which is fine, throw a special, and then there's a 15-second timer that you're not able to throw another special, because if you throw another special during that 15-second timer, you get degent. Now, you're getting constant power gain, and when you get 3 bars, you get power drained. And at 0 bars, you get 240% of the defender's attack or something stupid. You can hit her block with it's a medium, and then the first light, you get a petrify, which controls your power gain, which you guys are going to see we have to juggle between that so that we don't get 3 bars. With Titania, though, there's a little bit more of like a breather. She's not awake, so I wasn't able to use it too much, but I do think I have a video on my channel of me fighting this, this Eternity of Pain boss. And my 6-star was amazing because I would get to my Haymaker super fast. And if you have Haymaker when you get 0 meter, it doesn't do anything, obviously. So you guys are going to see here, we're going to start it off. You can't have her in light form while she throws a special, so our goal is to try to get her to 10, and then bait out this SP1, knock her down, and then bait out that light form. So I immediately throw my SP1 here, which starts the 15-second timer that you see in yellow, and gets her in light form. So now we're in full control. Titania kind of messes this fight up just a tad, because you have to kind of measure out her Haymaker with her regular ability. Like, you're not able to hit her block as well. And as you can see here, we did hit into the block to get the Petrify, which kind of controlled our power. So now we're going to wait till we have 2 bars to throw it to kind of reset the timer here. And as you can see here, good little rotation that we have here finally. I think I got like 40 or like 30% of the health away with her on the first try, and then just got completely destroyed after that. If I had to give a death count to this character, I'd probably say like 4 times I died, maybe, at most. As you can see, we do slow down the combo, throw another SP2 because that timer is gone. Unfortunately, this is going to put her in light form, so we're going to immediately throw our Relic here. I am in Haymaker, but we only had to slow the combo down just a little bit to get it, and just like that, Photon is down with relatively minimal deaths. Now, this next fight is, I gotta say, when I made this team, I was prepared for Adam Warlock to be a pain. For those of you who don't know, Adam Warlock's fights, his nodes are horrible. They're annoying. You need 3 buffs to do any damage to him. With the path node is annoying. It's just annoying. So Howard the Duck works for Nebula and him, actually. A very key player on your team. 7-star or not, just make sure you have him ranked up, because he definitely gets you through, like, not the impossible ones, but like the annoying ones. You need buffed up. You need to knock him down with a special or a heavy after he throws his special to soul barb him. If you do not do that, and the timer goes all the way around, you get soul barbed, and you basically just wither into nothingness. Kind of like Infinity War. So you guys are going to see here, the first thing we do is get our free heavies in. Because at this point, I was fully convinced that I was only going to get my, like, 4 heavies, die, and then just constantly rinse and repeat until inevitably I get him down. Now, as you can see here, he is at 18, so we are able to throw him with another heavy before he gets that yellow buff that you see there, which basically makes him stun immune. You're not able to parry him at all. As you guys can see here, he does throw this SP2, but because he has a soul barb on him, we don't have to worry. I'm waiting for that yellow buff to go around, so I'm able to parry him freely now, and just like that, we get another rotation with heavies. It doesn't matter how much armor we have or how many furies we have, as long as we have 3, we counter buffed up. He does have his contingency yellow buff here, and we're not able to hit him, but as long as we slow down the combo and retaliate with our SP1, we do give him a soul barb. So just like that, we're kind of in full control of this fight, I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to bait out this SP1 so he doesn't get a soul barb timer again, but unfortunately it does not work out, so I have to immediately start to go to town with him. Had the relic so I can hit him with a heavy, but because the charge up on the heavy was too long, we were not able to land that. So we got like 20-something% of his health away, which was a pretty good run considering the other runs were so crappy. So we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit to when he's at 17%. You guys are going to see pretty much the same rotation here. The key is to be able to get to that SP1 before you get power drained, because you also get power drained, and then he takes the power that he absorbed from you, I guess is the best way to put it. And as you can see here, as long as we slow down the combo, we are able to retaliate with our SP1, which gives him the first soul barb of the game, which pretty much sets us up for another few heavies, depending on how fast you gave him the contingency yellow buff. And as you can see here, we're in pretty good control here. He's going to throw this SP1, so we're kind of screwed, but we are able to stun him. So I'm going to dash back, hit him with my heavy, and that's another soul barb down. As you guys can see here, Howard the Duck does work, and if you're better than me, you will be able to one-shot him. I promise this is a one-shot-able fight. It just gets a little messy at times, as you can see here. So we're going to throw our SP1. Now he's at 1% health. So you're going to see here, I pretty much totally give up on all, like, laws of Kabam rules and just charge up my heavy while he's in stasis and just hope to God it works. And looks like it did work. If he would have retaliated with that SP1, I would have cried. Now, next up is Aegon, which is a very particular character. You have to play him a very specific way, just like everyone else. But with him specifically, you are definitely going to lose if you don't follow the rules of the nodes. It starts off with Aegon is going to start with 1,000 hits. For those of you that don't know, that just basically means he's unblockable. And he's going to crit all the time, and it's just horrible. If you intercept him, you do gain a reinforce buff, which is passive, I believe. And that allows you to, if you block an attack, there is a 100% chance that that hit will not be critical, which for those of you that don't know and can't put it together, that means that Aegon will not be unblockable. You're going to be able to block hits. Now, why this is important is because you have a timer with a bear trap on it. I think it's called a cement charge. Every 8 seconds, you gain 1 cement charge. And once you hit 3, you get rooted. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you block an attack, it gets rid of a cement charge. So basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to intercept, get your reinforce buff, which also gives you like block proficiency too, and then basically block his hits, block his specials to keep the cement charges down, and just rinse and repeat. There's literally no other way around it here. So I originally went into this fight with Titania because I thought that was going to be the best option because you can kind of make your own intercepts here. And you guys are going to see that the MVP for, once again, was Howard the Duck. He was pretty good for this. You guys are going to see here, it's pretty much a lot of making sure to get that intercept and then pretty much like making sure that he doesn't crit. You get the intercept and then you block to gain your cement charges, but you don't really have to worry about blocking specials too much with him. You guys are going to see I do end up doing that. And also when he throws a special, you do have to knock him down with a heavy, which works for Howard the Duck even more. So the key thing here that you guys are going to see is I'm going to land the intercept. And then you can see I'm rooted here. So I'm pretty much screwed here, but I'm pretty much dexing, trying to time it. I held block there so that he would dash back in an attempt to dash at me. And as you can see here, we're in the clear here. Counting that relic in, so I'm able to hit him with this heavy to get rid of that timer. I think it's called down and out. And now we're in full control. Now the good thing is you don't really have to block his specials too much with Howard the Duck because you are parry heavying a lot as long as you have the reinforce buff. So you don't really have to worry too much about that. And as you can see here, he is going to town on this Aegon. A lot better than I thought he was going to do because I really just thought Titania was the way here. And as you can see, combo into relic. We do have that SP1 to counter that rooted in case we need it. And you guys are going to see here, pretty much timing it, so I throw it now, and now we start at 0 cement charges. So once again, we are in full control of this fight. It does get a little shaky, of course, because, you know, it can't be perfect. We still have to land our intercepts. We still have to get our reinforces. There's a lot going on in this fight. And as you can see, we got the reinforce. I'm going to dash back, get the parry, get the heavy, and we are able to pretty much continue doing what we're doing here. We have that relic on deck in case we need to bypass rooted, in case we need to get the down and out buff or something like that, because you can only knock him down with the heavy with that, so a relic is definitely very much needed in this situation. And you're going to see here, we're doing pretty well with him. A lot better than I thought we were going to do, and he's only a rank 455 6-star, so I am very happy with what he accomplished on this road. And as you can see here, throwing that SP2, keeping him on the other side. We were able to parry heavy there to get rid of a cement charge. And pretty much in the clear here. I'm going to try to get an intercept here and then combo into the relic to make sure that I get rid of that down and out. And we're just going to town on this guy. We do get rooted here, which means we end up having to block it. And there is no way to dex the SP1 that I know of. And that was a really good run, but unfortunately he couldn't close it out, but he did get a huge chunk of him away, which was really, really good. I was very proud of him. But yeah, we should all be proud of Howard the Duck. I mean, he's pretty crazy, to say the least. And as you can see here with Titania, if I keep instigating intercepts and then also through block, she actually inflicts her debuffs through block anyway, so you can pretty much just do this. In case you're running into a character like maybe like Northstar or something like that, where, or I guess Adam Warlock doesn't really work for that situation, but like if you're trying to use someone like the Titania, Northstar, where everything kind of activates when they throw their special. Just hit into the block a million times. Even if you trigger Haymaker, just back out before, so when it goes away. So now, next up is Ares. We did get rid of Aegon, so we are up to Ares here. Now, I originally thought that Ares was going to be the hardest, till I got, like, almost roadblocked by that Adam Warlock. And then I fought Ares, and it was pretty bad. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over Ares' abilities. It's really not that bad. It's a little bit more overwhelming than you think. His attack rating, armor, resistances, special attack modifiers, and ability accuracy cannot be reduced, and he's immune to special lock, slow, halt, all forms of power manipulation. These kind of come into effect later. There is a phase where he gets a haste passive, which allows him to be unstoppable when dashing in. That's why he is immune to slow. You're not able to parry him, so it's all intercepting basically, or baiting his heavy, which was a whole nother thing that we have to go do later. Ares' opponents' attack and critical damage ratings, special attack multipliers, and perfect block chance are locked to their starting values. So you're not able to get any type of buffs that increase that, or any type of synergies or anything. It's literally stuck at what that character's base things are. I'm pretty sure you could boost for this, and then of course he's immune to grit, indestructible, death immunity, and immortality. So we're going to go to the next one here in a little bit. But he takes no damage from damaging effects, which is a big thing. You can't, like, Archangel him or anything like that. You can't cheese him with any, like, crazy damage over time characters. I would recommend a lot of, like, raw damage characters. Like, Hulk's really good. Titania worked really well for me. Even, like, Howard the Duck was a good option for me, even though he was only 455. But that's another reason. This is one of the many characters that were made to make sure that, like, everyone could beat them. And I gotta say, he has a really cool ability, which basically argues the point that really anyone could beat him if you're willing to kind of just throw your head against the wall a little bit. Every time you lose, well, it says it right here, Ares respects relentlessness. When he defeats a champion, that champion gains an indefinite 100% crossfight vigor passive, which basically all it does is increases your attack rating like crazy. That's how you do the crazy damage to Ares. You have to complete his prompts and then you gain those passives. But when you die, he actually gives you one. So in essence, if you were to die like 10, 15 times with one character, you would basically be getting the same amount of prompts if you like completed a special rotation, which we'll get into in a little bit. The attacker's effects that trigger against final bosses do not trigger against Ares. When the attacker gains health from a regen effect, Ares' disdain for any so-called laws of war grants him 400% of the health gained as permanent attack rating. So you can use a regen character, but just know whatever amount you regen, 400% of that is going to his permanent attack, which from the sounds of it, it sounds like that it probably doesn't go across like fights, but that's still going to be a horrible fight for you. So we'll go to the next one in a second, but the main thing is you can pretty much use anyone on this. I haven't really found anything that says like one character is better than the other. I know a lot of people said that Serpent was a good idea, but to be honest with you, you can literally use anyone as long as you know how to dodge his specials, which is something that you're going to get hit by his specials a bunch of times. I gotta say, I died a bunch of times trying to figure out how to recognize each one. It is insane. It is. But it's worth it. Trust me. Eventually it'll just click and you'll know. Or you could just give up and just plow your way through it inevitably until you beat him. So his heavy attack is very interesting. I got hit by it a few times, you guys are going to see, and it was a mess. But now I learned how to dex it. It's pretty simple. Ares' heavy attack cannot miss, be evaded, or interrupted, but it can be punished. So that basically means you can't evade it, he can't miss you, and you can't hit him in the middle of it, which I tried a few times. You can't hit him in the middle of it. He will still hit you with the minigun part. But obviously you can punish him. But even that's a little shaky because depending on your spacing, he can recover fast enough and hit you instead. So kind of pay attention. As long as you're like in his face when he throws it, you are going to be able to punish him. The second hit covers the entire arena. So you will have to dex no matter where you are, which took me a couple times. It inflicts a 60% suppression passive and wither, both lasting 60 seconds. A very chonky debuff. Now, as you guys are going to see here, during Ares' special attacks, the attacker cannot move backwards as the Spirit of War cuts off all retreat. Basically, in layman's terms, you are rooted during his specials. But that is a good thing because that means you have to play his game, which his game basically is choosing the right prompt. Now, as you guys are going to see here, each special requires a different action to be performed in time with the strike. Sword, well-timed block. So anytime he uses his sword in his specials is a well-timed block. If he uses the axe, it's a dodge. A spear, it's a light attack. And when he uses the minigun, only on his SP2, it's a swipe up or a swipe down. Now, I've kind of experimented with it a little bit. You can preemptively swipe. So basically, he's going to do his stuff, and as he's pulling out the minigun, you are able to swipe up or down preemptively, and pretty much it guarantees that you're going to dodge it, which we'll get into in a little bit. Failure to do so results in the attack landing. No matter what, this damage can't be prevented or reduced and always forces a reaction. So you're not able to be unstoppable through it either. But also, he's immune to all that, and you're probably immune to all that too, so it doesn't matter. Performing the correct action prevents the hit from landing and grants the attacker an indefinite 75% vigor passive, which is what I was telling you. When you die, he gives one to you. So it is definitely important that you're able to do this. I'm not going to say you can't beat him if you don't know how to dodge it, because you are inevitably able to beat him, but if you know how to dodge it, it makes the fight 10 times easier. Ares transition between phases at certain health thresholds. The effects of each phase are cumulative, meaning each effect of the past ones are in the new phases. So you guys are going to see what the first phase does, and then it'll pretty much carry into all of them, which is a pain, trust me. During Ares special attacks, time moves 20% slower. With each consecutive phase, it speeds up by 7.5%. So in the beginning, the game allows you a lot of time to react, to figure out what special he's throwing at you. Now, I have to say, me personally, it ended up messing me up more than it's supposed to help you, because it messed me up on my well-timed block parts of those specials, because the parry timing was all off because the special itself was slower. So you're going to have to kind of keep in mind of that. It's kind of similar to like the robot Kang, where he slows down or speeds up time, but in this case it's with a parry, so it's something that actually is like very like time dependent, so you have to kind of pay attention for something like that. But it really isn't that bad. Entering a new phase removes all vigor passive granted by Ares, except crossfight. So basically, if you go into a fight with 11 passives, and you happen to accumulate 30, so if you have 41, he will take those 30 and let you keep the ones that you started the game with, just so you guys know. And then when these intimidates expire, he becomes passively unblockable, unstoppable, and indestructible, just like Titania's Haymaker. So you do have to be ready for that. That does happen to me a few times. Never a time where he used it to like hit me or anything, but it does get annoying. So we're going to start it off with phase 1, and we're going to talk about each phase as we get to it in the footage. So we're going to start off with phase 1 incursion, which is 100% to 91%. The attacker's health as a percentage cannot be higher than Ares. Now, what that means is if he's at 1% health, and you heal your character up all the way up to 100, you will degen all the way down to 1% until you have even health with Ares. There is no point in healing up with him. Not to mention, to be honest with you, like if you either know how to dex the specials or or don't. So there's no reason to fully heal if you know in your head you're not going to be able to dodge these. So I would recommend just going in with your 40%, your 20%, when it gets down to that. Like I would try to save your potions, where if you die earlier, you could use maybe a 60%. And then when he is lower in like phase like 4 or 5, then you start using those 20%, because you're going to degen all your health out no matter what. So you might as well, use the appropriate revive for it. So you guys are going to see here, it doesn't really affect us too much. And while the attacker's health violates this rule, they passively degenerate until the two are equal. So as you guys can see, the first phase doesn't affect us in any way. So you use this to learn the SP1 specifically. I added subtitles here just in case I end up rambling or I don't know what I'm talking about. It kind of keeps me on track, and also allows you guys to kind of get the point across in case I'm saying too much. So you guys are going to see here that the SP1 dodge is dodge, parry, parry, light attack, dodge, which is annoying. I know Metal Sonic Dude wrote it on a sticky note. I gave that a try, but to be honest with you, like I pretty much wrote it on the sticky note and would still get killed because I'd have to like look up. So basically all I did was write it down and just memorized it over the course of me dying to it, and then eventually like on like a couple deaths after that, I was able to kind of just like figure out which one it is. Then he starts introducing the other special, which we'll get to in a little bit. So you guys see here, this is the first phase, which pretty much doesn't have anything because you guys are both starting at 100% health. And I ended up getting hit in the beginning, so I didn't even get to see the degen until later. So you guys are going to see here, we're going to kind of slow it down a little bit here. So he's going to throw it, and he's going to start it. You start off rooted. The kick itself is what starts both specials. You can do anything you want to this. It doesn't have its own property, which is something I was scared of. You are able to just dodge the kick no matter what. So he kicks us. He is going to immediately throw his axe. For those of you that don't remember, you dodge the axe. And then because he's using his sword, you're going to parry it. And then he uses his sword again, so you have to parry it again. But obviously I was stupid. Then he throws his spear, which is a light attack, and then a dodge. So for those of you that don't remember, it is dodge, parry, light, dodge. It gets a little annoying. As you can see here, that is the heavy. He pretty much just charges and then throws. It's like just shoots the machine gun. You are able to immediately just dodge back as soon as he rushes forward, and you are considered like dexing that. So he's gonna throw this again, as you can see here. You use this to learn your SP1. I promise. It's gonna take some time. Dodge, parry, light attack, dodge, and then you're able to punish that. So obviously I didn't do that again. So as you guys can see, that is pretty much what the special itself does. It is annoying. I'm not gonna lie, and I felt as though, as I said before, the earlier phases that slow down the special mess up my parry timing more than anything. There is times that you'll dex too early on that last hit and you'll dodge it, but for some reason you'll still be rooted when you try to dash in to punish them, so you won't be able to punish them. It's a lot happens, but it's good. Trust me. So we're going to go in here, starting to slowly learn it. As you can see here, he does get rid of our indestructible, so the haymaker itself does not have indestructible attached to it, so you still take damage in case you want to use titania. So now we are in phase 2 here, and we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. It starts from 90% and goes all the way down to 61%, so it is probably the phase that you're going to be dealing with the most. He will now throw special attacks while he has 2 or more bars. So once he hits 2 bars, he is going to just throw a random special. And he's going to decide basically if that's the SP1 or the SP2. There is no, cheap method. There is one that I tried that we'll talk about in a second that did not work. It screwed me more than it helped me. But as you can see here, he's going to throw the special 1 or the special 2 at random. Using either attack cost 2 bars. So there is no way to see like, oh, it only used 1 bar, so it must be the SP1. You have to use it. You literally, the only way you're able to figure it out is if you find what weapon he pulls out, which is another problem in its own. With each of his attacks, Ares generates 5% of a bar of power. So now if he's dodging in, if he's dashing in and you dodge it, he still gets 5% of a bar of power. So he does get a lot more power, so it allows him to throw more specials. So this is for you people that don't want to learn the specials. Trust me, it is torture trying to figure it out. And Ares becomes more aggressive the closer he is to the attacker's corner. So don't back up too much or else he is going to go to town. The good thing about Titania, she has her haymaker, so she is able to create her own distance as long as she has like a little bit of distance to dash in the beginning. But overall, it's really not that bad of a fight here. We're going to start, and as you can see here, the SP2 technique is parry, light, dodge. This one's a little bit easier in my opinion because it's, eventually you'll just learn. And the way you know is in the beginning, after the kick, he does pull out his sword first instead of the axe, which I think I do say in the subtitles here. And then the swipe up and down, as I said before, you are able to preemptively swipe up or down after you do that last dodge. So we'll kind of go to that in a second. So as you can see here, he is locked until he gets to that second special. We do dex the heavy here, but I was way too far to punish him. And the SP1 starts with an axe, and the SP2 starts with a sword. So you guys are going to see here, I tried this stupid strat that I was told worked, where you pause the game as he's pulling out a weapon, and that'll tell you what the special itself is. So as you can see here, basically it's almost as if I paused here, and I would have seen, oh, the axe, and then I would start. But my problem was, I felt as though after I would unpause the game, my inputs wouldn't work, so I would just get slapped around all the time here. So as you can see, I paused it, and I saw the axe, and I was like, okay, it's the first special. So I'm going to dodge this, 2 parries, light attack, dodge, and then go in for the punish, which is always safe, might I add. And as you can see here, we are really going to town on him. It's really nothing bad here. We're going to try to bait out this special. We have to see it again. He is throwing his sword out now, which I paused, which, as you can see there, it was like the in-between of me pausing and unpausing, and then like trying to get the parry. For some reason, my input didn't work, or I was just too late on it. It was like the pausing itself took away the time that I needed to actually trigger the parry. So I kind of stopped doing that. I think maybe there's a little bit more footage of me doing that. But towards the end, I just say, listen, this isn't going to work for me. And as you can see here, parry, parry, light attack, dodge, dodge, and then you have to swipe up. And as you can see there, which we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail. I'm going to parry here, light attack, and then as you can see there, I've already swiped up before he even fully pulled out the minigun. I already swiped up. You can swipe up or down. I swiped up. I thought it was a little bit more fluent, I guess, the motion itself. So you can swipe up. The timing on that is very forgiving, so we're able to kind of just throw it out. As you saw there, I did dash in a little too early, and I was still rooted, which is always annoying to deal with like the rooted mechanic. And as you can see here, he is always very aggressive, so you are kind of able to get those intercepts off the more you want it. As you see here, axe, dodge, parry, parry, light attack, dodge. We kind of waited a second, so now we're able to go in and throw our SP2. I recommend throwing the SP2 with Titania. Don't throw the SP3. I feel like there's no need for it, especially since Haymaker doesn't do anything for you. 2 parries, light attack, dodge, dodge, swipe up now. And as you can see here, there was still a couple seconds before that minigun even hit us. So the timing on that is very nice. We are gaining more vigors as we're able to successfully do the prompts here. You know, you start to kind of just figure it out, and I felt as though it wasn't so much that I was like learning it. It was more like I got hit with it so many times that once I saw what he was throwing at me, I already knew like the formation that comes with that. It's like once he pulls out the axe, I was like, oh, it's this collection of things. And once he pulled out the sword, I was like, oh, it's this collection of things. It wasn't more like, all right, he's doing the SP2, it's this. It was just like, it was more like the actual weapon itself kind of just, and then it kind of just started to be instinct at that point. You didn't really check the sticky note too much. You just kind of knew what was coming. So we are in phase 3 now, which is 60 to 31%. So it's a relatively short phase. His special attacks can only be punished with the appropriate act of aggression. So now this, in my opinion, which I will say in the subtitles, you can ignore this to a certain degree, but if you don't, like, you could ignore it, but you also, like, can't not ignore it, I guess, in that way. Like, you don't have to follow the prompts, but if you don't follow the prompts, you get messed up. So there's a way around it you guys are going to see in a little bit. Basically says at the start of the phase and resets after each special attack, on activation of his specials, you have to punish him a very specific way. It's either medium attack into light attack, medium attack into heavy charge, medium attack into special attack, and dodge backwards into medium attack. Now, I don't think it says it here, but on the bottom there, it says performing the chosen act at the end of every specials. Basically, guarantees that you are going to land that. So, medium attack into heavy charge, he will stand there and let you hit him. Dodging backwards into medium attack, he will stand there and let you hit him. He's not going to be allowed to do anything. So now, for situations like this, if you didn't want to follow the prompts, you know, it's just too much to deal with. You already have the, like in this case, hopefully, not jinxing you. Hopefully at this point you're like, all right, I already know what the specials are, but if I add one more thing to it, and I'm gonna start forgetting stuff, which does happen. I end up like lagging a second, like in the special animation, I forget what I have to do. You can pretty much just bypass this. So now, in my opinion, after you get those passive buffs and you dodge the specials correctly, you know, as long as it's one of those first 3 prompts, you are able to punish him with a medium attack. And then if you wanted to, like if you didn't want to worry about it, you could medium attack and then dash back. It's not the big deal. The only time it affects you is if you were to do it incorrect. So for example, if it was medium attack into heavy charge and then you medium light, he is going to hurt you, which we're gonna show you guys kind of what that means here. And but you don't in essence have to deal with it. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to follow it, But I found that there was just no reason to even really follow it. That's why it's such a short prompt, I assume. It does end up annoying you in the process of it. And as you can see here, even with him being unblockable, unstoppable, and indestructible, you are able to kind of just do what you want here. And as you can see here, that was medium light on the punish, so we are able to kind of do what we want in the grand scheme of things here. Light attack, dodge, we were able to punish that, but as you saw there, we didn't follow the prompts correctly. So as you saw, the prompt there was dash back into medium attack. But because we didn't do that, he is going to retaliate. And retaliating is basically him triggering stun on you and then just blowing you back. As you can see there, it does 30k almost. You know, it does a good amount of damage there. Luckily, that's all that happens. So, in this case, you in essence don't really have to follow it. I had to make sure I know what the active aggression is. You know, the first one said medium, and then the last one was special attack. Because I didn't know what that symbol was. I thought it was special attack, but better to be safe than sorry, especially with big bosses like this. So I'm going to go in again. And you guys are going to see it really isn't that bad. You could follow the prompts if you want. You don't have to, especially when you're on like a roll. Like you have all of these passive buffs. You're doing insane increased damage. You have the handle on these specials. There is no reason to do anything else here. And as you can see there, I just hit him with the medium. And we did fail the prompt, but we didn't fail it in the sense that he was going to retaliate. We just failed it in the sense that it's going to refresh into a new thing. So you don't have to follow the prompts, but as long as you don't do the prompts wrong, it's not a problem, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, you don't really have to worry about this phase too much. Obviously, it's better if you do. You guys are going to see here, no retreat here. Parry, parry, light attack, dodge. And he ended up actually recovering fast enough here, so we had to dodge that heavy attack to immediately go in. After his special attack is done, in case you didn't punch him or anything like that, he does actually refresh them into two new things. So you don't really have to worry about it too much. Parry, parry, light attack, dodge, and then we actually do it correctly this time, so we are able to get a full combo in. It doesn't give you increased attack or anything like that, but you are able to kind of just get more hits in. But as long as we're slowly building her up, we did mess up the parry here, which screwed me, but we are still on 4%. So in my head, I'm like, anything I do now is basically extra bonus damage. So we do combo into the Relic to get a nice cheeky combo here into that SP2. And as you can see here, 165k, 250k, like we're doing really well here. Now what makes Titania so good in general is she kind of makes her own openings here. As long as you know what phase you're on and what special he's throwing, you can pretty much use any character, obviously. But for someone like this with Titania, especially on the next phase, you're able to make your own openings. She's able to dash back, hold block, and then you're able to just go in with Haymaker. There's really nothing you have to do about it. As you saw, I did dash back and kind of let them refresh. I didn't really want to worry about it, but unfortunately, while it is in the process of changing, you do end up actually getting hit. So we have to keep in mind of that. And as you can see here, Dexing like a boss. Get hit again! Again, I got hit with that. But now we are in phase 4. I'm in 2% health, so I'm sure there's not much to this phase. It runs from 30% to 2%. There isn't much to it. There isn't much that gets added, but obviously, as we saw before, all the phases stack on top of each other. And as you can see here, every 20 seconds on a timer, Ares gains a haste passive. For those of you who don't know, that basically means every time he dashes in, he goes unstoppable. And this is kind of where Titania shines. She's able to dash in and start her own intercept. Obviously, you can still take damage, but as long as you have more than 2% health, you are able to kind of do things freely. We still have to worry about the the aggressiveness of punishing his stuff. We still have to worry about dodging the correct specials. Like, there's a lot of stuff that gets added, obviously. But as long as you have kind of a key hold on those specials, I'm telling you, there really isn't anything that he gets in addition to that stops your gameplay. I'm telling you, as long as you figure out what to do on each special, there is nothing else to this character. None of the phases increase him to make him harder. There really isn't anything going for him. As long as you're able to dodge, and as you can see there, we don't play with that aggressive punishment, whatever it is. We take our time, we get our free damage, and we just wait. He does have haste now, so we kind of have to worry about that. We can hit into his block, but I'm pretty much just waiting for my haymaker to go, and then, or I'm just waiting for him to gain his own bar every time he throws that medium. As you can see, 5% of a bar of power. It is pretty good in this situation where you're not able to really intercept him too much. And as you can see here, we pretty much got a handle on everything that he does. We do dash back and throw the medium, which, as you can see there, he does let us hit him with it. And every time we get his percentage down to ours, we do degen a little bit just to make it an even playing field. That starts all the way at phase 1 that I was telling you guys about, which doesn't really have an effect until you get down here, where you're pretty much getting slammed by him at all times. So now we let those things refresh, so we're able to dash in with Haymaker, because even with Haymaker, if he were to retaliate and do his stupid thing, we would take insane damage because we are not indestructible. We do have 34 buffs here, 35. We are just going to town. My favorite prompt, if I have to pick one, is Medium Light, because that is what you're going to be doing anyway to him. We're going to try to bait out this SP2 here. Hopefully he doesn't get to that SP3. His SP3 does kill you. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't think I was ever hit by it, so I didn't have to worry about it too much, but it could have been a serious problem. As you can see, we do dash back and dash in, and even with the unstoppable from haste, we are still able to kill him. So it's definitely a guaranteed thing. Like, you know, there's never anything you have to worry about here. And that brings me to my other situation where I'm telling you, there is nothing that they give this character that makes him harder in the sense that, like, you have to learn something new. Once you get the handle on these specials, there is nothing else to this character. As you can see here, like, a character like Titania doesn't really, like, obviously she's amazing, but, like, she doesn't do debuffs to him. Like, he kind of locks that down too. Like, it's only on the specials, and as long as you're able to dodge it, you can literally use anyone. So it's kind of this. That's kind of what this guide is for. Like, you really don't have to do anything with anyone other than just mess around. So now we got him to phase 5. As you can see, we're both on 1%, and I think this is when it kind of affects you the most. Where if you're coming in with a brand new champ, you are going to get degen to that 1% to match. Ares gains 99 indefinite persistent immortality passives. This cannot be removed except by Ares' ability. While he has one or more of these passives, his attacks cannot be blocked, so he's unblockable during it. 3 passives are removed whenever any hit of Ares' special attack does not land. So to keep doing what you're doing, dodging and doing the very specific things of each hit, because they're not making contact with you, he is losing 3 passives. 2 passives are removed when Ares is intercepted. For someone like Titania, that's easy because you have your own Haymaker. Even if he does hit you, yeah, it's going to hurt, but you're going to be able to bypass it because he doesn't have a grit. So it doesn't really matter too much. He actually makes you immune to grit, so you're not able to hit him during haste. And then it doesn't say it over here, but you lose 1 passive every time you hit him, I believe. Hold on, let's see here. We'll go to that. 1 passive is removed when the fight starts. Okay, so on activation of a fight, he is going to lose 1. So in essence, for those of you that don't know too much, and you know, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to beat this, I'm just going to item my way through it. If you die 99 times, he will die. He'll just drop right there. So just, you could do this, or you could just be an absolute Chad, get him to 1% in one try because you're that good, and then just spend 99 revives, and then you'll win. It really is that simple. So but we're not able to do that. We don't have enough items. I already burned through half my items to do this, and now as long as I know how to fight Ares, I feel like I can do the other paths, but I have to be very careful. So as you guys are going to see here, you know, he is unblockable, so we have to kind of take our time here. The Intimidates did wear off, so he got his Indestructible, his Unstoppable, and his Unblockable. As long as we continue to keep doing these like little prompts here, he does lose a lot of immortalities. He's already had 81, and that was just in the first try. We do both have to be at 1%, so it is very annoying here. Still have to pay attention to the aggressiveness, or whatever it is, the punishing. So we're pretty much just trying to keep him in the corner, so we have plenty of space here. I dash back, so I have plenty of time to see which special attack it is. They do make it the fastest it can be. You know, each one goes makes it faster by 7.5%. And as you can see there, for a situation like that, we are able to hit into his block with Haymaker to make sure we can kind of keep things going here. Which, you know, makes it so it's kind of easier for us. We did start that fight with 40% health, and as you can see, we are degenning to get the same amount of health as him. Couple more dodges, these specials, he should be dead, but I end up screwing up, you know, right at the end. I'm worrying about too much, and I get hit and I die. It was a mess. I was so annoyed about it. But we are getting there. I already know that I'm going to get him down eventually. I know that if I dodge like maybe 2 more specials, he is going to be out for the count. So we are going to revive Titania, give her the final achievement. She is going to take this guy down. I promised her before we walked in here that these chumps on her team weren't going to have any part to play on Ares. So she is going to take this guy down. As you can see here, he is starting with 30 immortalities, which is annoying, but as long as we gain some intercepts here, only when the haste is not up, we don't have to worry too much. Trying to get him to that SP2 as fast as possible so we don't have to worry too much. Throwing our SP1 to kind of gain some more distance here, and then he is going to throw his special. It is the first special, so it's kind of the easiest to remember because we did it so many times. And as you can see, he is at 11, so he's getting really close. I'm really hoping we beat him on this try because I kind of forgot. As you can see here, we did get hit there, which doesn't matter too much because we still have to get degen, so we had to bait out another heavy. He does have haste, so I'm not able to trigger an evade or any type of intercept of that matter. And as you can see here, he is out for the count. We did get that Ares down. Very exciting. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much. I was very excited. That was very hard to do, I promise. If I had to give you one piece of advice for something like this is be prepared to get hit by that special a few times. It doesn't matter the guides you watch. You know, as a couple people said, pausing it helps, but if you don't know how to dodge these specials, you're going to die every time. You know, inevitably you'll get them down, but that's not how we want to play. In my opinion, I really feel like you should just be okay with getting hit with these specials. It's annoying, I know, but once you know, you got to get hit with it a few times to figure it out. Use that first phase to figure out the SP1 dodge, and then in the next phase, just be prepared to get hit by that SP2 a few times, and just eventually you'll get it, I promise. These are the openings. We did get a 7-star hero. Now, in my opinion, I heard that Lady D was a excellent character for the first path, so I really wanted to pull her. I was really hoping we would pull her, so let's see what we get. We pull War Machine. Again, I think he's 660 now, so we don't want to use him. The good news is I was able to find a team for Path 1, which you guys are going to like. It's a pretty cool, it's a pretty interesting team. It's got a couple of hidden gems in there, I guess is the best way to put that. And we did get a Titan Crystal, which I didn't want to open, but I did. And now I'm permanently saving. I'm saving either for Bastion, who comes out next month, or I'm saving for Blob, because I've been wanting him since he lost the summon. I wanted him since the first round of the last Summoner Showdown. So I'm going to start saving my Titan Crystals and my Titan Shards for inevitably when those two characters come out. I know that Bastion comes out next month, so I'm excited about that. We wanted Arcade out of this crystal, but instead we got Superior Iron Man. We got another Iron Man. But I mean, that's going to be pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.